guys, it's your Ford Focus here, and today we're going to be reviewing the Dodge Ram Rebel TRX, the Lexus GS 350, the Mercedes Ml63 Amg, and the newly improved Renult Megane. So now, let's first start with the Dodge Ram Rebel TRX concept. So this car has a top speed of 155 miles per hour, 250 kilometers, 5.5 seconds in 0 to 60, $634 per mile. It's an all-wheel drive, and it's $120,000 for the asking price. So now, let's start off with the reviewing of these 4 falling cars of this truck. So the design of the Dodge Ram Rebel TRX is really unique. You can see that literally on the truck bed. You see something no other. Like if you go on top of it, it seems like that it's a case of stairs, or better yet, if you go into it, like your Roblox character will go deep down towards the floor. Like you can literally see yourself out of it. That's just crazy. But it has that really cool touch to it that no truck has. Like, I'm serious. And if you see my friend driving a Smart for 2, I bet that can easily fit into the Dodge Ram Rebel truck bed. Hey, that's a really nice idea that Dodge did. And really cool the way 22 Pilots add it. So, if you try to go inside, you may have to do like some jumping, or you cannot go right into it. But yeah, it's a really high truck. I compare it with this tractor trailer next to me, and fair enough that the Dodge Ram Rebel TRX is tall as the very bottom tip of that window to the door. That's how large this truck is. This is the largest car you can get in Citizen. There is nothing else bigger than that. And it has really cool touches with the wheels as well, putting tons of lug nuts all over the rims with some really good grip. And on purpose, you see this gray touch in the inside with the tires as it comes along with it. And that is like not like a loading error, but you can literally see the logo on it. So it's actually engraved onto the tires. So there's a lot of cool touches with this car. But it even has that light on top of the bottom, which you can't control it, unfortunately. But if you go to the front of the roof, you see lots of lights along with it to make this the humongous truck it is. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights. That's just something really cool. And this truck can easily fit up to 5 people. There's tons of grills and vents to it as well. And side mirrors are like no other. Seems like that's divided up into 2 squares. This is a really cool truck and design. And now I'm going to show you the headlights and the turn signals. So on the front, you can see that the turn signal color is really bright. Outstandingly a bright yellow. Goes perfectly along with the headlights. And that yellow part underneath does not blink at all, but rather a touch to the headlights. They also blink on the side mirrors, and on the rear, simply all 5 of those lines going on the rear lights They all blink. So without further ado, let's get on to the performance test. Acceleration from 0 to 100 and full speed begins in 3, 2, 1, go. So in about 7.5 seconds, this goes from 0 to 100, and in full speed, it's closer to 12 seconds. You earn 360 experience points for every mile you make. Braking is relatively fair. Okay, it's a little slower, but I guess because of the size of the truck. Handling on this truck is slow, especially if you go from 0 to 20 miles per hour. But it gets a lot faster as you move on. But you'll expect that for a humongous truck like this. So I say that's pretty good for a review of this truck, since you'll expect that on big rigs like the Dodge Ram Rebel TRX. The Dodge Ram Rebel TRX is also unstoppable when it comes to off-roading. It's really good. It can go over anything, even all those curves. Like some cars, especially so the supercars, they can really have a tough time going over those curves, but not when you're driving the Dodge Ram Rebel TRX. It's so easy. Just go over the curve and boom, right there. You'll have no trouble at all getting out of the curve with this thing. And now it's time to express my thoughts about the Dodge Ram Rebel TRX. So the Dodge Ram Rebel TRX is the biggest and most mightiest truck in ultimate driving. No pickup truck can beat something like the Dodge Ram Rebel TRX. It's the beast of all the kings in these trucks. And if you guys really like to off-road and take your friends on off-roading roleplay adventures, then this truck is for you. It does a really good job, and I actually consider this the best off-roader in the game. So this is an excellent choice to go along if you plan to off-road in ultimate driving. Really good for what it does. And even though the performance can get a little slow, it's still really good, and consider its performance because of how big the truck is. You'll expect something like this for slower performance on a heavy truck. So I say 22 Pilots really did a good job when it came to design this truck. So now it's time to move on, leaving from this mighty truck, the Dodge Ram Rebel TRX, and move on to the Lexus GS 350. Next, we move on to the Lexus GS 350 all-wheel drive. So max speed goes up to 142 miles per hour, 229 kilometers, 5.7 seconds in 0 to 60, $503 for every mile you make, and it's a all-wheel drive just like the Dodge Ram Rebel TRX, with a price of just $40,000. So now, let's buy this and see how the Lexus sedan goes compared with the Lexus LFA. So the Lexus GS 350 has some pretty nice touches with the design. I do get this for a higher quality sedan. It has some chrome around it, especially that one line going across from the brake lights. And the overall car looks really nice. And so, here are the headlights. And now here are the turn signals. So on the front, you have about 4 lines going next to each other throughout the headlight. And then you also get some on the side mirrors for its blinking. And then move on towards the back. You get this unique triangular shape going along with one of the rear lights, or better yet, between 2 of them. One which is a smaller one, and then the other which makes like a J-shaped curve. And this goes along it as a ramp. Pretty much likely closer to a bird shape, maybe. Makes a pretty cool touch. And it's really bright too, especially in the night. So now, let's test out on the performance. The acceleration of 0 to 100 and full speed beginning in 3, 2, 1, go. The acceleration is overall slow. At least 10 seconds to get into 0 to 100. And then more like 13 or maybe even 14 and a half seconds to go to full speed from 0. But now here is braking. It's decent. And then handling. It's really nice. You earn 320 experience points for every mile you make. Now, it's time to express my thoughts about the Lexus GS 350. So, Lexus GS 350 is more of a normal version throughout the Lexus lineup. And it's a good thing that 22 Pilots decided to add a Lexus like that. If you compare it, such as the Lexus LFA. You can see a boost animation coming out through the bottom with the exhaust. But this is what it's like to drive a Lexus sedan. So the acceleration is slow. Braking's not bad. And handling's decent as well. I would not recommend this as a grinder's car. There are some grinders cars out there where you could just naturally unlock and they give better cashback than this. Unless you really like Lexuses. And if the slow acceleration, it's not really recommended. So, if Lexus is your thing, then go for it. Because this is the opportunity to drive a Lexus sedan. Unlike the Lexus LFA compared to it. Now let's move on to, with more practicality, the Mercedes Ml63 Amg. So the Mercedes Ml63 Amg is a retro SUV. And if you go towards the stats, you see its max speed at 171 miles per hour, 4.7 seconds, and 0 to 60 acceleration, $552 for cashback, an all-wheel drivetrain, and $64,000 at the asking price. So now, it's time to purchase this SUV, and let's see how this SUV performs as a Mercedes, and perhaps the first SUV to ever be in the Mercedes lineup for ultimate driving. So the Mercedes Ml63 Amg looks pretty nice as a retro SUV, and being that it's the first SUV to appear in the Mercedes lineup for ultimate driving, that's a pretty cool effect. And overall, this seems like a practical SUV, in its design at least. Yeah. And it can also seat up to 5 people. So now let's do the headlights and the turn signals. So on the front, the turn signals also come out in a very bright color along the headlights. And there's nothing that blinks on the side mirrors, it just gets the reflection from the headlights. Though there is extra chrome on the side mirrors. On the rear, however, everything that is in a bright red on the rear lights blink. And then you just got your third party light chilling on the top. And now let's test out the performance. Starting in 3, 2, 1, go. So in 0 to 100, it's about 8 seconds. But it goes towards 19 seconds in 0 to full speed. So it can get slower for the acceleration test. And sometimes the speed even stops for a little bit, and it takes force in order for the speed to continue to go up to the top. Braking is decent on the Mercedes. Handling's pretty light. And now, it's time to express my thoughts about the Mercedes Ml63 Amg. So Mercedes Ml63 Amg seems to be a pretty cool car if you like Mercedes. And it's also an opportunity to try out for the first SUV in the Mercedes lineup, as this gives you 332 experience points per mile, with the boost coming out for 2 exhaust pipes on each side. This is a pretty nice SUV to choose. Now, a cashback, it's not really recommended for a grinder's car, but it's still really good performance as a Mercedes. So yeah, that concludes my thoughts about the SUV right there. And now, let's move on to the final car on this review list, which is the newly improved Renult Megane. The Renult Megane RS250 had a lot of changes since it was first added. You can see that on the front with the headlights, and the rear lights has a major change. This is because 22 pilots chose a newer generation. No one was buying the first version of Ultimate Driving's Renult Megane. And that's because with the price tag and performance was overall a ripoff. But now, the stats match much better with this car in the new changes. And taking a look at the max speed, you get 155 miles per hour, 250 kilometers, 5.8 seconds in 0 to 60, $518 a mile, And this has a front-wheel drive drivetrain, unlike all the other cars I've reviewed which are all-wheel drive. The price also matches the car much better. In the first version, it was $89,000 for just 106 miles per hour. Now, it goes along much better with $46,990 in ultimate driving. So the Renult Megane looks really cool in its design. You can see along with it with just the 3 lights going on each side towards the bottom of the grille, and the overall shaping seems to be a really cool reputation with the Renult Megane. And you do not get this in the United States in real life. You'll only see these driving around in Europe, especially the UK. So that's something to experience, especially on an American map. And if the rear too, all those extra curves and improvements, we make the Renult Megane stand out, unlike the first version of this. And here are the headlights, along with the turn signals. On the front, it's a really small square going on top of the headlights. And you also get them on the side mirrors. On the rear though, seems to have a fascinating touch. Going inside one of the white squares that were not made, on the outer square, it makes a remarkable blink for each time. Now, let's move on to the performance. Acceleration from 0 to 100 and full speed begins in 3, 2, 1, go. So in about 10 seconds, maybe just a little under that, you get an acceleration of 0 to 100. And then it goes to full speed in 15 seconds. The braking is decent, pretty good. And you earn 324 experience points for every mile you make. Handling on the Renult Megane takes some steering, but it gets pretty good while you're driving it. And now, here are the thoughts about the Renult Megane from myself. So Renult Megane is a remarkable car in which sadly no one in ultimate driving really drives this. As you see boost animation coming out. It's sad that no one really drives this, because this is the only time that I'm seeing a Renult Megane. That's right. In public servers and in private ones, I've seen nobody driving a Renult Megane, even though it's from this update, until now, which is the one I'm driving. And you guys should really go check this out and drive it more often. It's a good roleplay car, and the design looks really cool as well. And if you notice, when I started the performance, I've also discovered that there's secondary color on the Renult Megane RS 250. You notice them mostly on the bar on the grille and on the side mirrors. So definitely go check this out. And you should drive it more often, because the whole purpose of the revamp with the Renult Megane is so that more people would buy this. And that's how 22 Pilots did with all the measurements. by matching the car more realistic with its price and the speed. You can notice how in the first generation, if we remember, or at least the first time when the Renult Megane was added, I said it was a ripoff because the speed was only 106 miles per hour and a price tag of $89,000. But now this is much better compared to the first one. So definitely go check this out. This is definitely recommended as a good roleplay car. Even though a cashback is not really recommended for grinding like the other cars. Still a good choice. So yes guys, that's going to be it for the video right there. Hope you guys enjoyed the video very much. You may like this video. Comment in the box below for your thoughts about my review with the Dodge Ram Rebel TRX, the Lexus GS 350, the Mercedes Ml63 Amg, and the newly improved Renult Megane. Join my Discord server located in the description, and you may subscribe. Bye!